I'm on a mission this year with my self-storage business, and I'm on a mission this year with you guys. My mission is to close the gap between how the big players operate in the self-storage space and how the smaller investors do. Last week we talked about a data analytic program that we're beginning to use that's available for other smaller investors that will allow us to peer into each one of our submarkets almost in live time and know exactly what our competition is doing and not doing and where our pricing fits in unit by unit. This week I want to talk about a new pricing model that we're beginning to deploy in our facilities called value pricing. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage. That's a book that talked about how as a small investor, I and we can get in the self-storage business and how to strategically put self-storage projects into service. So what is value pricing? Well, when I first heard it, it sounded very suspicious to me. It sounded like a bait and switch. As a company, we've made a decision not to use demand pricing. That's pricing where the price of our units adjusts daily, weekly, or monthly based on what's going on in the submarket and the supply demand for that product, almost like an airline ticket or like a hotel room. And we're going to talk about demand pricing next week. But I heard about a strategy called value pricing as we were beginning to use the data analytics software that we were deploying so we could see what our competition's doing in our submarket. And value pricing is a very simple concept. The concept is not all 10 by 10s or not all 5 by 5s are the same. Some are actually worth more. So what value pricing does is allow your customer to upgrade if they choose to. So let me explain. Let's say if I'm sitting in the gate of an airport and I'm about ready to get on a 4.5-hour flight back to home, and I'm in coach and I'm with my wife and I have a chance to upgrade to first class for $40, $50, I will do it 100% of the time. First class is more comfortable, it's easier to get in and out, it's a much better 4.5-hour experience. My wife would never do it. My wife would actually downgrade if possible. She would probably put me in the luggage compartment if that was an option and the price was cut. So everybody relates to having an option to upgrade differently. There is a percentage of the population that come to see your self-storage facility that will upgrade. Now how this works is, as you set the program up, the layout of your facility is actually inputted into the program, and each day the program will run an algorithm and an email will go out to the managers. This doesn't really add to the manager's workload, but the manager will get an email every day and it'll say, here are the 3 units that we suggest that you upgrade to premium, and then here are the 3 units we suggest you upgrade to the next level, and everything else is the standard price. And that algorithm will pick the units out based on location and based on what's the availability that particular day. So when someone calls, we don't change our pricing structure. If our price for a 10 by 10 is $90, someone calls up or goes online, there's a $90 unit. If they reserve it, that's fine. Or if they call up and want to see come in and want to see a $90 10 by 10, we'll show it to them. And on the way, we will say, by the way, this 10 by 10 is closer to the gate, or this 10 by 10 is closer to the office, or you could actually drive up in the building to this unit. This 10 by 10 happens to be $125 if you were interested in upgrading. But let me take you to your unit. And what you do is you give each one of the customers the option of upgrading to a more expensive unit if they choose to. Now, This is not a bait and switch. This is a tactic that's used in many, many industries, and we're just beginning to deploy it in the self-storage industry. And why it works is, like I said, there is a certain percentage of the population that will choose to upgrade. And then there's a certain percentage that will never upgrade. And what we've discovered is when customers have choices, when they feel empowered. If a customer feels like they have multiple choices, they feel empowered. And when customers feel empowered, customers do business with you. So I invite you to be, whether you use our data algorithm or not, I invite you to begin to consider maybe deploying a tactic like this. What happens is, especially in the facilities where we have a lot of units that are available in our lease-up properties, this type of pricing structure can make a huge difference. What I've seen in the companies that I've studied that are using it, they're getting on the low end a 3% lift, some over 10% lift, depending on the demographics of the market where the facility is located, to their gross income without having pricing increases. That's why we are beginning to use this pricing strategy and going to explore with it. As I look into the future, I see a year where we're not going to have the price increases that we've been enjoying over the past 4 years because of all the competition that's coming onto the market. So what we're doing is taking what we have and creating pricing structures that maximize the income potential that the property has. Again, in my mission to close the gap between how the larger players operate and the smaller players operate, this is one pricing model we feel we can deploy with success and will not cause price increases in our submarket. So thank you very much. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage. I look forward to being with you next week as we talk about demand pricing.